what's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we have our Minnesota Vikings mock draft 3.0, and we diving into selections for the Vikes in just the first 5 rounds. So we'll talk about pick number 18, pick number 49, pick number 82, 97, and 161 on today's show. Won't be going over the 3 6-rounders or the 2 7th-rounders, so you guys won't see me draft Squirrel White in the 7th round with pick 240 in this one. So we'll be deep diving into the first 5 selections for the Minnesota Vikings and landing some top-end talent. But if you guys want the Vikes to crush the 2026 NFL Draft, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon for us. There is no doubt this is a massive draft for your Minnesota Vikings. If you guys want to crush it, knock it out of the park, go down there and hit that thumbs up icon. All right. So for our third mock draft here on the channel, I want to get a little bold with our first selection in round 1 at pick number 18. And we're going to have them drafting a riser here, and that being Texas Tech defensive tackle Lee Hunter. Now, the biggest reason why I want the Vikes to draft Lee Hunter is because I believe there is no bigger advantage in the NFL, besides obviously having that franchise game-changing quarterback, than having a front four that has the ability to get home, where you don't need to send in any extra blitzers. You can just sit in stock cover 2 shell and send 4 guys to the quarterback, and they can get home. We just saw the Seahawks this past season excel at that. The Eagles the year prior, having some elite defensive linemen, especially just in those front 4, can be a huge advantage for any team. And if the Vikings would be able to create this front 4, it would be absolutely fantastic. Jalen Redmond had his breakout year this past season. He looked absolutely amazing, and Lee Hunter is fantastic and putting pressure on the quarterback from the interior. Then you got 2 elite edge rushers in Jonathan Gennard and Dallas Turner. Now, also not mentioned in this graphic is also a guy like Andrew Van Ginkel, who, Vikings could line up like they normally do, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys on the line of scrimmage, and have Van Ginkel be the guy that drops back at the last second, and have those 4 be the 4 that are getting after the quarterback. So Lee Hunter, so some pros of his game. He's got a super broad chest with a 6'9" wingspan, so he can get good leverage under some guards and centers. He also fires off snaps with very low pad leverage. He does have good balance and recovery through double teams. He slides with lateral blocks, which helps him also disengage with blockers. He changes directions pretty well in small spaces. He's got a twitchy upper body and creates violent sheds against centers. And he dominated as a bull rusher at the Senior Bowl. So those are some of the pros on his game. I was talking about some of the cons. Now, he is a little bit too reliant on his size over technique when taking on double teams. So pretty much he thinks he can just overpower everybody, and they can get him into some troubles on certain plays, especially at the next level. Don't necessarily love that. He does lack some feel and efficiency in taking on down blocks. He's also limited to early downs and 2-gapping schemes, and he lacks initial quickness to create early wins as a rusher, which I also don't necessarily know if I agree with that last one, because he can win very, very fast at the line of scrimmage. Now, at pick number 18, there's no doubt it's a reach for Lee Hunter, but I'm fully in on this guy. I mean, anytime you watch Texas Tech this past season, he was flying all over the screen. He was really the biggest disrupting force on that defense. Like Jacob Rodriguez, a linebacker, got a lot of love. David Bailey got a lot of love, their edge rusher. But I think the guy that was the glue holding it all together was Lee Hunter on the interior of that defensive line. This guy's absolutely fantastic. So taking him at 18, a little rich, but I think I would do it. But you guys let me know. Would you draft Lee Hunter at pick number 18? Give me a D for draft or give me a P for pass down below in the comment section. You guys let me know your thoughts on Lee Hunter, the Texas Tech defensive tackle at number 18. All right, we're going to stick with defense here for the second pick for the Vikes. We're going to have them taking Tennessee cornerback Colton Hood. Now, Colton Hood, teammates with Jamal McCoy, a guy I'm a massive fan of, who will most likely go in the first round. And also with the Vikings passing up potentially on another corner in round 1. Got to attack it in round 2. And some pro comps being thrown around for Colton Hood are some great ones. He's being compared to a guy like Quinion Mitchell and Kamari Lassiter of the Houston Texans. Both these guys, some of the better cornerbacks in the National Football League. I think Quinion's top 5. So it's high praise for Colton Hood. Now, why is he getting these comparisons? Because he measures out the exact same way. 6 foot, about 190 pounds. He's got big hands, got about middle of the pack arms, and his projected 40-yard dash is supposed to be 4.43. So he's a burner. I mean, this guy can go stride for stride with any wide receiver out there at the college football level. Now, will that be able to translate to the NFL? We'll wait and see. But this guy's also a very intelligent player on top of all of his insane athletic ability. So I think that combination will end up working out. And this past season at Tennessee, very, very solid production. Only allowed a completion percentage of 51.9, just around 325 yards allowed, one touchdown, had 9 PBUs, one interception, and allowed a quarterback rating of 69.8. So if you tell me the Vikes end up going Colton Hood with their second round pick and Lee Hunter with their first round pick, I would be absolutely thrilled because I do think the Vikings, first 2 picks of this draft, go defensively. Lean more into your strength. Like we saw the Eagles before they picked up Saquon Barkley, they're already a good running football team, but they doubled down on it. So I want the Vikings to have the same approach. Double down on your defense. Put some faith in Brian Flores where it's like, hey, Flo, we know if we give you no extra talent defensively, we'll have a top 10 unit. But if we go add a first-round pick, a second-round pick, maybe a big name free agency pickup, turn this defense into a top 3 unit, I think the Vikings have the chance to do so. You guys let me know. Should the Vikes go defense with their first 2 picks? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below. All right, we'll get to the last 3 picks here of the mock draft here in a second, but let me tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now, head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and plug in that promo code VikingsChat50 off to get hooked up with 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, if you guys want to eat better, but you have 0 time and 0 energy to make it happen, Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or file recipes. It just removes the entire problem. 2 minutes, real food, done. Factor is already made by chefs, designed by dietitians, and delivered to your door. So all you got to do is heat it for 2 minutes and eat. Lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole food ingredients, healthy fats, the stuff you would make if you had the time. And I love Factor because they have no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. And they have over 100 rotating meals every single week, including high protein, calorie smart, GLP-1 support, and ready to eat salads. So head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, this offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. All right, with the first pick for the Vikings in round 3 at number 82, we're going to have them going with the Alabama linebacker Deontae Lawson. Now, funny enough, when I was looking up stuff on Deontae Lawson, one of the pro comps he had was actually Kobe King, who the Vikings took in the 6th round. Now he's with the New York Jets. So I thought that was a pretty funny tidbit on Deontae Lawson. But this guy's he's a tackling machine. He really was the glue of that Bama defense. Great tackler. The amount of shoestring tackles this guy had when he tossed in his highlight tape is absolutely unbelievable. But he had 4.5 TFLs this past season, 1.5 sacks, 4 PBUs, 2 forced fumbles. And, in coverage, he can get beat on certain spots. He is definitely a gambler. Like, he would try to bait the quarterback, try to get that lucky interception, but he can get beat a decent amount. Like, he does struggle guarding bigger tight ends just because of his smaller frame. And he allowed 26 completions, only 31 attempts thrown his way, and gave up 2 touchdowns and a quarterback rating allowed of 114.4. Now, the downside of Lawson, and why this pick, like in round 3, I think it's fine to take him here, but this is probably the earliest I would take him, is he's only 228 pounds, so he can get flushed out of plays at a pretty high rate, but I would like him as just like the secondary linebacker next to Blake Cashman. And also, if you bring back Eric Wilson, this could just be a good rotational depth guy where I think he would benefit from learning a year from Cashman, putting more weight on his frame in an NFL weight training program. So Deontae Lawson, first pick of round 3. I like it. Don't necessarily love it, but he was the best player available at that time. All right, now the second pick of the 3rd round for the Minnesota Vikings at number 97. We're going to have them going a running back, and I decided to switch it up here. I'm going with Washington running back Jonah Coleman. Now, it was originally just going to take Katron Allen, but Jonah Coleman's actually projected to go higher. Now, this guy is an absolute dog, a physical, bruising, run-through-your-face type of running back, and he's also fantastic on the goal line, and that's why I think I would prefer the Vikings to draft him over some of these other scat backs. In this past season for Washington, just 12 games played, had 758 yards, 354 through the air, and 17 touchdowns. And his pro comp is absolutely perfect. It's Kareem Hunt. Like a very heavy runner. He'll fall forward for those extra yards. And the biggest reason why I want the Vikings to draft this guy, short yardage situations, this guy's been unbelievable. Whether that's on the goal line or 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you're backed up. Even if a defensive tackle blows the play up, he can just fall forward, stick that ball out there, and get that first down. He was one of the best running backs in the country this past season in those situations. And just like how Kareem Hunt in the NFL, that's what his bread and butter was. So I like the pick up of Jonah Coleman. Now, the only downside to Coleman is that he is pretty similar to Jordan Mason, so you wouldn't really have that scat back option there, but maybe the Vikings pick that up in free agency, for example, or maybe they just put some faith in Ty Chandler and stepping up his game. But Jonah Coleman, very intriguing prospect. I could see even this guy going higher than at the tail end of round 3. But no pick in the 4th round for the Vikings, so we're kicking it to round 5 here and drafting. One of my favorites in the draft is Pat Coogan. This guy's an absolute mauler, man. He's also got just so much personality with him. He really is one of the more fun offensive linemen I've ever seen on film. And, this past season for Indiana, PFF grades aren't going to completely blow you away. He was fantastic during the college football playoff. Also, Indiana pulls their centers a lot, pulls their guards a lot, so he does have a lot of mobility and athleticism. But his overall PFF grade, 76.8. That was 14th in the country. Solid in run block, solid in pass block, healthy the entire season, playing 766 snaps, and he's also a big dude for a center. 6'5", 311 pounds. And why I'm taking this guy in the 5th is because the Vikings need that at center this offseason. I think we all know what's coming with Ryan Kelly. He'll probably end up getting cut. Vikings can save $8 million. So maybe you can't get like a Cade Mays from the Carolina Panthers in free agency. You're going to have to draft a center. There's actually a good amount of centers out here in the draft that you could take in the middle rounds, either late round 3 or with their 5th round pick. So got to add a center, and we're going with my guy Pat from the Indiana Hoosiers. So if you guys are excited for the 2026 draft, hit me with those skulls down below in the comment section. Just around the corner. I cannot wait. Got to go through free agency, then a couple more weeks, but then we'll be at the draft, and I am so excited for it. So if you guys are too, hit me with those skulls down below, and also hit that subscribe button on your way out. It's going to be a crazy time here with the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of moving parts, quarterback drama, obviously coaching drama with Kevin O'Connell, and then we have a GM search coming after the draft, so it's going to be a lot of fun to cover that. So if you guys could, hit that subscribe button today. Lock us in as your go-to Vikings YouTube channel. And as always, Skol Vikes.